welcome back to Nadya's Identity Files. This has been probably one of my most interesting interviews yet, to be quite honest. I've really enjoyed having you here because these issues are not only timely, I mean, I feel like they're timeless and really important to discuss, and more people need to be aware of what's happening to animals and nature and how these things are, very much, they act as harbingers for our future. We can't ignore them.
I don't think people realize, not to sound negative, but how toxic our planet has become all over the world, whether you're in Greece or Costa Rica or Los Angeles, as far as our food supply, our water, our air, and it's no joke. And there's 80 million autoimmune sufferers. It's a growing epidemic, and you have to wonder why. And it has to do with the environment.
Right, and the food that we eat, which of course is a part of the environment.
Yeah. So I come across as a Nazi as far as the food, what I will put into my body. But food is sacred, and food is so yummy and a ritual, and if I eat something that's not wholesome, I feel disgusting.
Right, you feel it. And sometimes I go back and forth as being really, really, really on point, and then I fall off a little. But luckily my falling off is going to Subway, not going to McDonald's or something too heinous, which, it's close enough.
Yeah, I think if you have allergies like I do, I can't afford. I'm always pretty much good. I don't like me cheating is like, oh, Miriam had a kombucha.
Oh, wow. How is kombucha cheating?
Well, it has sugar, and I'm just not doing sugar or starch if I can.
Totally.
So it has to do with candida. I mean, there's reasons why not to have kombucha. Oh,
yeah. I would like to talk to you about that. I've stayed away from kombucha because I'm like, the fermentation process just kind of freaks me out a little bit of that particular drink, not of fermentation in general of other foods.
Yeah, the jury's out. There's positive and negative.
There's positive and negative of just about everything, though, right? Although some things clearly veer more in the negative. And, I want to go back to the QBIT, and I want to talk about that. I love it. I want to talk about that in the marketing scheme of things. As you know, in some episodes, I go into my on-air social media consults to talk about brand in a much different way. I feel that brand leads us to commercialize ourselves and our work. Even if you are running a corporation or a consulting firm and I'm working with you, I urge you to strip the word brand from your vernacular and look at things from a narrative identity perspective. So looking at identity, your organizational and your individual identity and the intersection of the two, and from the context of story. We talked about story earlier, and it's important to remember that we don't only have one story, we have an evolving series of stories. So when we're thinking about creating our what, our why, and our who, the who of who we're trying to attract to us, whether it be donors if we're a nonprofit, or customers if we're a company, that has like e-commerce or whatever, and our what, how we self-identify in the scheme of the narrative identity, and our why. Why are we doing what we're doing? So let's, we already established a lot of great things about you, so let's look at, why don't we look at it from Honey Colony? Why don't we do Honey Colony's 5-word what? If you had to say in 5 words what Honey Colony's narrative identity is in this context that we're discussing, what would it be?
Health advocacy, empowerment, education or / information, community, and health.
And I feel all of that when I go onto the Honey Colony website.
Good.
So obviously you're very clear about what you're doing in your mission. And I think that that's probably because also you have a very strong self-identity and you have a very strong why. And I think when we have a really strong why of that backs up what we're doing, it's easier to be clear in how we craft ourselves, our companies, ourselves, whether online or, brick and mortar, whatever, when we are behind our mission.
Yeah, I will say that purpose is, let's say people grapple with what their purpose is, and it gives them a lot of anguish. And I'm so blessed that I have a purpose. It's very strong.
And what is your 5-word why for honey colony and for you, or just the intersection of the two?
In addition to the ones I just mentioned.
So what you just mentioned was your what?
Oh, my why. Why? Because there's so much misinformation and toxicity out there. And there's so much, information glut. Like, where do you go? So we've prided ourselves to have solid content information, no fluffy Cosmo BS.
Yeah.
That's the way I term
Cosmo BS. I love it.
Just fluffy Cosmo BS.
There's a lot of fluffy Okay, can we just draw that? Like, I just need a video of that right now. Can someone, like, on BuzzFeed, like, call me so I can just see this fleshed out? That's awesome.
Fluffy Cosmo BS.
Fluffy Cosmo BS. I just think of, like, really gross cotton candy, which, so gross. I can't with that. So, what about your 5-word who? Who is Honey Colony trying to onboard and reach?
Well,
there's probably several different ones.
I think based on the calls that we get, there's a lot of sick people that are in need of help that are not finding answers in Western medicine. So they'll reach out and they'll say, will this CBD help, or will your silver solution help? And it's like, I'm not here to just sell you a product. Yeah, I want Honey Colony to be abundant, but who cares if you're taking CBD to have an impact on your inflammation, but you're eating like crap.
Yeah.
Who cares?
It's true.
It's about looking at health from a holistic manner and looking and trying to identify the root, as opposed to, here, take this pill, it'll make you feel better.
Well, yeah, I mean, everything is so linear, and, not just with regard to health, but
it's big.
Pretty much a lot, everything, and there really is not one path to success, or whether that success be monetary or your health and so on. I mean, we have to look at things from a 360-degree perspective.
And with that said, that means when things happen, we don't really know what the bigger picture is. So it's not what happens to you, but what you do with what happens to you. Are you going to be a victim? Right. Or are you going to use this horrible experience? Like, I was hit by a Ford Explorer at 30 miles an hour.
And I read outside of Earth Cafe. I know exactly where you were crossing, and that crosswalk terrifies me because I see people just bust through it all the time.
And now there's actually a sign. But the point is, like, there's a silver lining in everything. It's up to us to find it and not to be victim again to the stories. It's ever evolving. And to be enthusiastic. So we're doing, but to be is to be centered in your frequency and positivity, and allow things to magnetize to you.
Right. Can we talk a little more about the bee, the identity of the bee? I just love that where we started with that, and I saw a lot of imagery which I loved on Honey Colony with bees, and using bees as a metaphor for how Honey Colony operates as a collective, and looking at that from like the hive perspective. I mean, what is the identity of a hive, if we were to say that in like a few words? A beehive. What is that?
Busy, lots of productivity, lots of chaos and order at the same time. You would look and be like, what the F are these bees doing? But they're very systematic, and they have they communicate, and they work beautifully together.
Did you get stung a lot when you were working with bees? I did
get stung a lot, but I chose to allow myself to just maybe wear a veil, because it's no fun getting stung, but not wearing any protection. And that's why I have that picture of me covered in tons of bees.
I love that.
I wanted to say, hey, there's nothing to be scared of. You have to emanate love. If I had been scared when one bee stings, then they send out pheromones. It would have been like total chaos.
Oh my gosh.
But having all those bees on me and being silent was akin to when I swam with dolphins in Hawaii. Just a huge heart-opening, beautiful
I would love to do that. I've never been to Hawaii. I really want to go and swim with dolphins. They're such sweet, beautiful, intelligent, strikingly intelligent creatures.
And you feel it.
Yeah.
When they're in their presence.
I really wish we could all look to the sensitive, intelligent creatures that, our destructive ways are taking down. Let's not do that. Let's consider ourselves as industrious bees who can work together in cooperation for the betterment of the hive, the betterment of society. No action, as we were discussing, is too small. It will only lead to greatness. So keep that in mind as you go into your week.
Absolutely.
Thank you for tuning in. Thank you so much for your time. It was wonderful. Take care. Bye.